Welcome to Suburban Death Metal Dad Recommends, episode 21, where I'll be talking about Mr. Bungle. So my introduction to Mr. Bungle was in spring of 1992. I had a friend that we didn't have a lot in common musically, but he had the debut for Mr. Bungle. And, he played it for me. And, being a total metal guy at the time, I was still, really blown away by this album. And I was already familiar with Mike Patton, from Faith No More, The Real Thing, which I am a fan of. And this one has circus music, metal riffs, jazz, ska, funk, tons of samples, just killer from start to finish. And this album right here. So play a few clips here. I've got Quote Unquote, which was originally called Travolta, but the record label didn't want to get sued using the actor's name, so the band changed the song title to Quote Unquote, and also Slowly Growing Deaf and Love is a Fist. Check them out.
Love is a fist! Love is a fist! Love is a fist!
Alright, something else to go along with the debut album. Some inspiration for the band came from this story right here, Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children, Volume 1, which contains the story The Cotton Candy Autopsy, and you can find the artwork that they used for the album in this storybook. So it's a cool thing to have for sure. Alright, so 4 years after the band released their debut album, second album came out in 1995 called Disco Volante, and this one is very different from the debut. No more circus music. It's got a production that's not as clean as the debut, but it sounds really good overall. I mean, there's so much going on, and to me it sounds very cinematic and like it could be the soundtrack to a foreign film or something. So yeah, I really like this one a lot. It's very different from the debut, like I said, but it's unbelievable what Mike Patton can do with his voice. And here's a few tracks to check out: Carry Stress in the Jaw, Violenza Domestica, and Merry Go Bye Bye.
Don't tell anybody.
I posti che ti faranno male per il resto della tua vita!
I remember when I heard that Mr. Bungle was going to be releasing their third album in 1999, that a friend and I joked around that, okay, it's time for Mr. Bungle to release an album because it's been 4 years. It was 4 years from the first to the second, and now the second to the third. And at the time, it seemed like a really long time between albums, but nowadays, that's nothing as far as a band taking 4 years to release an album. But anyway, I was really excited for it, and I was definitely not disappointed when they released California. And I would say this one's more digestible than Disco Volante. It still doesn't sound anything like the debut or Disco Volante. They've added like some surf rock and some old school rock and roll sounds, but there's still, a lot of samples. Mike Patton's still a total lunatic on vocals, and there's a lot of catchy songs on here. So I provided some clips. None of them knew they were robots. Gollum 2, The Bionic Vapor Boy, and Goodbye Sober Day. So enjoy. So I was fortunate enough to see Mr. Bungle live one time, and that was in 1999. And I remember thinking, is there going to be anybody there? What kind of show is this going to be? Because, like I said, I'm a total metal guy, so I know Mr. Bungle, crosses over to lots of different genres, and they're not really, in the metal, community at that point. So I'm thinking, how many people are going to be there? Well, it was totally sold out. And fortunately, I bought my ticket ahead of time. So going back in time a bit, Mr. Bungle was formed in 1985 and released 4 demos before their debut. And I didn't hear these until like the 2000s. I'd gotten them basically downloaded from the internet. So the band released their first demo in 1986, The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. And this is a pretty harsh listen as far as the production goes, but you can tell they were going for total metal on this one, and it's really aggressive sounding. Here's a clip from the song Evil Satan. Then in 1987, the band released their second demo, Bow of Chile, and this one you can tell they're already starting to gravitate towards the sound they would have on their debut, and I think it's a pretty good demo, and there's a lot of tracks on here that aren't on any of the studio albums, and here's a clip from the song Cottage Cheese.
Hey you! I could put pussy in the cottage cheese, but I don't like cottage cheese. I don't know put that in my cherry yogurt. I like cottage cheese, you cunt. I get up with my thing. You're noisy. You're faggot. Not the whore. I come and put it in my cottage cheese, but I don't like cottage cheese. I don't know put it in my cherry yogurt.
Mr. Bungle's third demo, God Damn It, I Love America, was released in 1988 and pretty similar, I guess, to the previous demo, a little more refined, and a lot of tracks on here, like the previous demo, aren't on any of the studio albums, with the exception of Egg and Carousel. And here's a clip from the song Definition of Shapes. In 1989, Mr. Bungle releases their fourth demo, OU818, maybe the most infamous demo from them. And this one has a song that did not appear on the debut called Mr. Nice Guy. I think originally it was going to be on it, but for whatever reason it didn't get included. But it's a really good song, so check this one out.
There's nothing that I wouldn't do for you. 'Cause I'm by the train like a great day. Now when I say yeah, I keep up in the skies, one of the flies. A polish just a picture appetizer on main course. Degradation a la mode, you with just the invitation. I know how to treat your lady. I'm a bounce in the floor, but life crazy, so shower in the ghost. It's you, with my balls. Get down like a pig in the toilet in the back.
So I heard all those demos in the early 2000s, and Mr. Bungle is not active at this point. And of course, I'm wondering, and hoping they'll get back together at some point. And then a lot of time goes by, and then eventually in 2019, Mike Patton, Trevor Dunn, and Trace Bronze get back together and announce that they're going to re-record the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo with Scott Ian from Anthrax and Dave Lombardo from, ex-Slayer, ex-Grip Incorporated, and a ton of other bands. So pretty excited to hear this, and eventually it's released, and it's really a killer metal album. This is definitely one not to pass up if you're a metal fan. And here's some clips: Anarchy Up Your Anus, Spreading the Thighs of Death, and Sudden Death.
Pieces of thoughts and addiction. Plus the population is increasing. Cause life from my head. Give me a drop. Do you believe in God? Do you face it with a doubt? Pain is so insane. Do you taste it in you?
Then in 2021, the band did a live stream, which you could pay for and watch, and I did, and it was a really cool show, and it's mostly songs from the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo with some cover songs as well. So I was happy that they also released it as a CD, Blu-ray, and an LP set the night they came home. So really great sound on this one, great performance, and definitely one to check out. So here's a clip from the song Bungle Grind.
Get
All right, that pretty much wraps it up for Mr. Bungle. Such a big fan of the band, and huge fan of Mike Patton as a vocalist. And I hope they, put out some more recordings. I definitely would like to hear something a little bit more experimental than, just like the re-recording of the Raging Rat the Easter Bunny demo. Going back to the earlier stuff. I'd love to hear something like that again. So, all right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Lunch was good today. And then Miss Brown told Phil and his friends how proud she was of them. They had left their table the neatest in the lunchroom. No one here was a Mr. Bungle, and no one wanted to be. Are you like Mr. Bungle? Mr. Bungle is a shame because he spoils lunchtime. Don't be like Mr. Bungle. Have good lunchtime manners, and lunch will be more fun forever.